Hello everyone, welcome to my lecture. Today we will discuss about the blood vessel, the most important topic of the blood vessel, that is atherosclerosis. We will discuss first about normal blood vessels, then arteriosclerosis and then atherosclerosis in detail. For theory and practical examination, this topic is very much important. In atherosclerosis, we will discuss about definition, risk factors, pathogenesis, classification, morphology and clinical consequences. Now coming to normal blood vessels, arterial wall are thicker than the wall of veins. Arterial wall thickness gradually diminishes as the vessels become smaller, but the ratio of wall thickness to lumen diameter becomes greater. Depending upon the caliber and certain histologic features, the arteries are divided into three types. First, that is a large elastic arteries. Examples are aorta and its large branches, major pulmonary artery and common iliac artery. Medium sized muscular artery. Examples are coronary and renal artery, and small arteries and arterioles. Arterioles have a diameter of 20 to 100 micrometer. Here you will see a microphotograph. You will see a different layers of arteries. First, that is the intima. This is the innermost layer. It is a single layer of endothelial cells with minimal subendothelial connective tissue. Beneath it, you will appreciate internal elastic lamina. Here you will appreciate internal elastic lamina. It is a dense elastic membrane which separates intima from the media and have a fenestration. This is a characteristic. Now coming to media. In media, either it is a composition mainly is the smooth muscle cell and elastic fibers. Smooth muscle cells mainly in muscular artery. It arrange circularly or spirally. While elastic fibers mainly in elastic artery, it arrange in compact layer and separated by and alternating with layers of smooth muscle cells. Now here you will appreciate, this is the media. Here you will appreciate external elastic lamina. It is lies between the media and adventitia, and the outermost layer, that is adventitia, have an endothelial cell lining, but there is no media. It is ideally suited for rapid exchange of diffusible substance between the blood and the tissue. Blood from capillary bed flow initially into post capillary venules and then sequentially through collecting venules and small and medium and large veins. Veins have a larger diameter, larger lumens, thinner and less well organized walls. It is predisposed to irregular dilatation, compression, degeneration and easy penetration by tumors and inflammatory processes. Lymphatics are thin-walled endothelial line channels. It serves as a drainage system for returning interstitial fluid and inflammatory cells to blood. The important pathway for disease dissemination through transport of bacteria and tumor cells to distant site. Interna, here this is a lumen. Now coming to arteriosclerosis, it means thickening and hardening of arteries. Generic term for thickening and loss of elasticity of arterial wall. There are main three patterns of arteriosclerosis. First, that is atherosclerosis. Second, that is a Monckeberg medial calcific sclerosis. Here you will see in medium sized arteries, calcific deposit will be seen in media only, and it is generally seen in older patients. Radiographically, it is visible, palpable calcification is seen. Now coming to, this is the media. Here you will see a calcification. This is H&E stain. Here again you will see a, in vessel, media of vessels, you will see a calcification. Now coming to arteriolosclerosis. It is seen in small arteries and arterioles. Thickening of vessel wall with luminal narrowing that may cause ischemic injury. It is associated with hypertension and diabetes mellitus. Now coming to atherosclerosis. Again I am emphasizing this is the most important topic for theory and practical examination. Whole topic is very much important. Now coming to definition. It is an intimal lesion. Monkey-based sclerosis, it is media is mainly involved, while in atherosclerosis, intimae is the most commonly involved. So this is the intimal lesion. It is called atheroma or atheromatous plaque or fibrofatty plaque which protrude into and obstruct vascular lumen and weaken the media. Athero means fibrofatty, porridge-like. It referring to soft lipid-rich material in the center of atheroma. Sclerosis means thickening. It referring to connective tissue in the plaque. Thickening of vessel wall due to deposition of fibrofatty plaque in the intima. It manifests through its complication like IHD, thromboembolic phenomena, etc. It is responsible for half of all death in Western world. Now coming to risk factors and pathogenesis. Major reversible risk factors are hyperlipidemia, hypertension, cigarette smoking and diabetes mellitus. Non-reversible risk factors are increasing age, male, family history of hypertension and genetic abnormality. Coming to minor risk factors are alcohol and trans unsaturated fatty food, that is a reversible risk factors, and non-reversible are obesity, stress, type A personality, physical inactivity, hormone replacement therapy and high carbohydrate intake. The main risk factor for coronary artery disease are age, dyslipidemia, family history of premature coronary heart disease, hypertension and cigarette smoking. Mostly it is seen in middle age, more than 40 years. In men it is more than 45 years and in female it is more than 55 years of age. Incidence of myocardial infarction increase 5-fold between the age of 40 and 60. Male are predominantly affected. Family predisposition is also common. Other risk factors like hypertension, DM and familial hypercholesterolemia. Non-genetic risk factors like diet, lifestyle, personal habits, type A personality and obesity. Now coming to normal lipid metabolism. Major lipids present in the blood are cholesterol, fatty acids and triglycerides. Cholesterols are the lipids which is found in cell membrane and in plasma. It is an essential component of cell membrane and is necessary for synthesis of steroid hormones and for formation of bile acids. It is synthesized by liver and many other organs and is also ingested in the diet. Triglycerides is the 3 long chain fatty acids are attached to glycerol. It serves as a source of energy. It present in dietary fat and synthesized by liver and adipose tissue. Lipoproteins are the lipids which are insoluble in plasma and are therefore transported in circulation in association with protein. These complexes of lipids and proteins are known as lipoproteins. Disorder of these lipoproteins is known as dyslipidemia. Now coming to structure of lipoprotein, it is a spherical macromolecule complex consisting of central core of lipids which is water soluble, it is a hydrophobic non-polar consisting of cholesterol ester, triglycerides, fat soluble vitamins which is surrounded by surface monolayer phospholipids, free cholesterol and apoproteins. This surface monolayer are water soluble. They are main 5 major classes: chylomicrons, VLDL, IDL, LDL and HDL. Triglycerides are mainly carried out by chylomicrons, VLDL and LDL. Cholesterol are transported by LDL and HDL. The major function is transport of cholesterol from liver to peripheral tissue, while VLDL is synthesized by liver and chylomicrons by intestinal epithelial cells. Now coming to apolipoproteins, proteins located on the surface of lipoproteins which aid in lipid transport and delivery in 3 ways. It stabilizes the structure of lipoprotein. Second, it serves as regulatory cofactors of enzymes that acts on lipoproteins and act as a ligands for binding to lipoprotein receptors. Certain types like apolipoprotein A, B, C and E. It is considered as a high total cholesterol level. Normal triglyceride levels are less than 150 mg per deciliter, and if it is more than 200 mg per deciliter, then it is considered as a high. LDL, if it is more than 160 mg, then it is considered as a high. HDL, if it is less than 40 mg per deciliter, it is considered as a low, and if it is more than 60 mg per deciliter, it is a high. But HDL, if it is high, then it is a good. Now coming to lipoprotein disorders, it classified as a primary, inherited or secondary due to acquired causes like diabetes, hypothyroidism, alcohol abuse, nephrotic syndrome, renal failure and biliary cirrhosis. Lipid abnormalities associated with atherosclerosis and increased risk of coronary artery disease are elevated LDL cholesterol, low HDL cholesterol and elevated triglycerides. Now coming to hyperlipidemia, it is a major risk factor. Hypercholesterolemia, it is associated with increased LDL. LDL has a major role for delivery of cholesterol to peripheral tissue. Now coming to HDL, it is a 20 to 30% of serum cholesterol. It involves in reverse cholesterol transport, like mobilize cholesterol from atheromas and transport it to liver for excretion in the bile. So it is considered as a good cholesterol. So higher the level of HDL, lower the risk. Decrease accumulation of cholesterol in the vessel wall. It is a cardioprotective cholesterol. Low HDL cholesterol is significant risk factor for coronary artery disease even if total cholesterol is normal. If it is less than 40 mg per deciliter, it is definitely an important risk factor for CAD. So it is considered a positive risk factor. If level is more than 60 mg per DL, is a cardioprotective. So it is considered as a negative risk factor. Now coming to LDL, normally it is a 60% of total cholesterol. It is a major atherogenic protein. High LDL is a strong risk factor for atherosclerotic heart disease. High LDL is associated with obesity, high carbohydrate intake, DM, lack of exercise, smoking and some drugs. Now coming to serum triglyceride. It is again a risk factor for CAD but is less significant than serum cholesterol and lipoproteins. Patients with triglyceride more than 200 mg per deciliter have definitely a high risk. Now coming to hypertension, it is a major risk factor. Men age of 45 to 60 years with blood pressure more than 170 systolic and 95 diastolic mm of Hg have a more than 5-fold high risk for IHD than normal blood pressure patient. Both systolic and diastolic blood pressure are important. Antihypertensive therapy reduces the incidence of strokes and IHD. Coming to cigarette smoking, one or more packs per day for several years increase the death rate from IHD by up to 200%. Cessation of smoking reduces the risk. Now coming to diabetes, it induces the hypercholesterolemia and markedly increase predisposition of atherosclerosis. Risk of myocardial infarction is twice in diabetic than non-diabetic. High risk of developing stroke. 100-fold of increased risk of atherosclerosis induced gangrene of lower extremities. Homocystinuria, it is a rare inborn error of metabolism. Patients with this disease have premature vascular disease. Studies have shown that there is a relationship between total serum homocysteine level and coronary artery disease, PVD, stroke or venous thrombosis. Hyperhomocysteinemia is caused by low folate level, vitamin B intact. Other factors like lack of exercise, type A personality, unrestrained weight gain. Multiple risk factors have a multiplicative effect. Two major risk factors increases the risk fourfold, while three risk factors when present increase the risk of MI 7 times. Now coming to pathogenesis, this is very much important. The most accepted hypothesis, that is a response to injury. A chronic inflammatory response of the arterial wall is initiated by injury to endothelium. Lesion progression is sustained by interaction between modified lipoproteins, monocyte-derived macrophages, T lymphocytes, and the normal cellular constituent of arterial wall. Now this chart showing pathogenesis, hypertension, toxin in cigarette smoke, hemodynamic stress, increased LDL level, all these factors damage the endothelium. So it leads to platelet adhesion, it releases platelet derived growth factor, and there is a proliferation of myointimal cells. Second mechanism, that is due to damage to endothelium, there is a diffusion of plasma lipids into intima. So there is oxidation of LDL, which is uptake and which is important for formation of form cells. Third mechanism, that is a migration of monocyte into intima, and it leads to formation of form cells, which release cytokine, and again it leads to proliferation of myointimal cells, and lastly it leads to collagen synthesis. Now coming to different steps. First of all, that is a chronic endothelial injury with endothelial dysfunction, which leads to increased vascular permeability, leukocyte adhesion and thrombotic potential. Second step, that is accumulation of lipoproteins, LDL with its high cholesterol content in the wall. Third, that is modification of lipoproteins by oxidation, addition of blood monocyte to endothelium, which leads to migration into intima and their transformation into macrophage and formation of form cells. Fifth step, that is addition of platelet, release of factors from activated platelets, macrophages or vascular endothelial cells that causes migration of smooth muscle cells from media into intima, proliferation of smooth muscle cells in the intima, and elaboration of extracellular matrix. So there is accumulation of collagen and proteoglycans. Last step, that is enhanced accumulation of lipids both intracellular within macrophages and smooth muscle cells and extracellularly. Now coming to diagram, here the most accepted theory, that is response to injury. This is a normal blood vessel. This is a single line endothelium, intima. Here you will appreciate a media which is lined by smooth muscle cells and elastic fibers, and third, that is adventitia. Now because of hyperlipidemia, hypertension, smoking, etc., which leads to chronic endothelial injury. So there is endothelial dysfunction, increased vascular permeability, leukocyte adhesion, monocyte adhesion, and there is a migration. And other extracellular matrix deposition, extracellular lipids are also there. So this is a well-formed fibrofatty atheroma. Here center you will find a lipid debris surrounded by collagen. Scattered lymphocytes are also there. Because of vasoactive mediators like histamine, serotonin, which causes loss of endothelial barrier, increasing endothelial permeability without denuding the endothelium. This is termed as endothelial dysfunction. This leads to adhesion of lymphocyte, monocyte, and deposition of lipids in subendothelium. Now coming to role of inflammation. It mediates initiation, progression, and complication of atherosclerosis. The monocyte adhere to the endothelium, enter the subendothelium through the gaps in the endothelium. Then they transform into macrophages. These macrophages engulf lipoproteins, VLDL and LDL. Thus these macrophages become foamy. They proliferate and accumulate in the intima. Monocytes liberate many factors which play an important role in atherogenesis. Like interleukin-1, it is a chemotactic factor for leukocytes. Tumor necrosis factor, it increases adhesion of leukocytes. Toxic oxygen species causes oxidation of LDL. Growth factors causes smooth muscle cell proliferation. T lymphocytes, when interact with macrophages, it activates cellular and humoral immune response, which is a characteristic of chronic inflammatory reaction. Now coming to role of smooth muscles. The proliferating smooth muscle cells in the intima arises from migrating cells of media and pre-existing myointimal cells. These smooth muscle cells migrate from media into intima, where they proliferate and deposit extracellular matrix components. So it converts the fatty streak into mature fibrofatty atheroma and contribute to progressive growth of lesion. The growth factors causing the proliferation of smooth muscle cells are released from platelet granules which get adhered to the injured endothelium. Platelet-derived growth factors and fibroblast growth factor, which stimulate the proliferation and migration of smooth muscle cells from their usual location in the media into intima. Transforming growth factor beta and interferon gamma derived from activated T lymphocytes within lesions regulate the synthesis of collagen by smooth muscle cells. Smooth muscle cell proliferation is also facilitated by biomolecules such as nitric oxide, endothelin, which is released from endothelial cells. Intimal proliferation of smooth muscle cells is accompanied by synthesis of matrix proteins like collagen, elastic fiber proteins, and proteoglycans. Now coming to role of lipid, lipoprotein abnormality found in population are increase LDL, decrease HDL and increase abnormal lipoprotein level. It is an altered form of LDL that contains apolipoprotein B100 portion of LDL linked to apolipoprotein A. Now coming to role of hypercholesterolemia, certain genetic defect in lipoprotein metabolism causing hyperlipoproteinemia are associated with accelerated atherosclerosis. Certain genetic or acquired disorders that causes hypercholesterolemia leads to premature and severe atherosclerosis. The major lipid in atheroma are plasma derived cholesterol and cholesterol esters. Significant correlation between severity of atherosclerosis and level of total cholesterol. Now coming to role of hyperlipidemia, increased production of superoxide and other oxygen free radicals impairs the endothelial function and causing lipid deposition. Lipid penetrate into intima through an area of increased endothelial permeability. Free radical produced in macrophages or endothelial cells oxidize LDL. This is quickly engulfed by macrophages through a scavenger receptor, which are then called form cells. Now the actions of oxidized LDL. It is a chemotactic for monocytes. It attracts, proliferate, immobilize and activate them. It releases growth factors, cytokines and chemokines by endothelial cells and macrophages that increase the monocyte recruitment into lesions. Oxidized LDL is cytotoxic to endothelial cells and smooth muscle cells that can induce endothelial dysfunction. It is ingested by macrophages. Now it converts into form cells. With persistence of hypercholesterolemia, the different changes continue to give rise to fatty strip. If the serum cholesterol level is controlled, it may regress or disappear. With continuation of high cholesterol level, the lesion progress to plaque formation. Further deposition of collagen and connective tissue leads to fibrous cap, which is completely form fibrofatty atheroma. It may progress to further cellular proliferation and connective tissue formation leads to fibrous plaque formation. Again, this chart shows multifactorial theory on the origin of atherosclerosis. Hyperlipidemia, which leads to increased LDL permeability, which leads to increased cellular uptake by the receptors. So there is a cholesterol accumulation and atheroma. Hyperlipidemia, because of this and other risk factors, it leads to endothelial lesion. It also activates platelet and release of platelet derived growth factors, which leads to smooth muscle cell proliferation and leads to atheroma formation. Other theories in pathogenesis are monoclonal hypothesis. Some human plaques are monoclonal or at least oligoclonal. Here smooth muscle cell proliferation starts from a single cell or at most from a few cells and results in atheromatous plaque formation. Plaques are equivalent to benign neoplastic growth induced by an exogenic chemical or an oncogenic virus. Some infection like chlamydia pneumoniae, CMV, and it causes chronic inflammatory process leading to atheromatous plaque formation. Other hypotheses are insudation hypothesis and incrustation theory. Insudation hypothesis, here that there is a cellular proliferation in the intima is due to insudation of plasma proteins and lipids into the vessel wall, but now this enters the vessel wall is not clear. But how this enters the vessel wall is not clear. Incrustation theory, a small thrombosis form over injured endothelial cells which get organized and grow to form atheromatous plaque. So the importance will be primary prevention and secondary prevention. In primary prevention, aim is to delay atheroma formation or regression of established lesion in persons who have never suffered from complication of atherosclerotic coronary artery disease. So first will be cessation of cigarette smoking, control of hypertension, lowering of serum cholesterol and LDL cholesterol, weight reduction and increase exercise. Secondary prevention, the aim to prevent recurrence of events like MI in patients with symptomatic disease. So by using lipid lowering drugs and antiplatelet drugs. This is very important for prevention. First, that is get regular and medical checkup. Control your blood pressure, check your cholesterol, don't smoke, exercise regularly, maintain a healthy weight, eat a heart healthy diet and manage stress. Here the onset, it is type 5 and 6, it is definitely seen in 4th decade. Again different diagram but same. It is here the normal blood vessel. First there is a fatty streak formation. Again it progresses to plaque formation. Increasing plaque and there is a obstructive atherosclerotic plaque is there. And here that is a complicated with fissure and thrombosis. Up to this it is a non-invasive test will be non-invasive test, that is normal. Here the non-invasive test will be abnormal. Now coming to morphology. In fatty streak, it is earliest lesion. It is characterized by lipid filled form cells. It begins as a multiple yellow flat spot less than 1 mm in diameter which coalesce into elongated streaks of more than 1 cm. It present in all children of more than 10 years and in some children of less than 1 year. Coronary fatty streaks are found in adolescents. Microscopically, in intima, you will show a few macrophages which is filled with lipid, so it is known as foamy macrophages. Few extracellular lipids are also there, but it is less in streak as compared to plaque. So extracellular lipids are more seen in plaque. Cattle lymphocytes are there. The lipid is in the form of proteoglycans. Now coming to well-formed atherosclerotic plaque. Here the artery involved in the descending order. Lower, first that is the lower abdominal aorta, then thoracic aorta, coronary arteries, popliteal arteries, internal carotid artery, vessels of circle of Willis and ostia of major branches. Major consequences are MI, cerebral infarct, aortic aneurysm and peripheral vascular disease. Other complications are mesenteric occlusion, sudden cardiac death, chronic IHD, ischemic encephalopathy, thrombus formation in small arteries and ischemic injury. Now coming to morphology. In the vessels, as we know, abdominal aorta, ostia of major branches, coronary artery, popliteal artery are involved. The plaque are raised focal lesion initiate within the intima with soft yellow grumous core of lipid which is covered by a firm white fibrous cap. Size will be 0.3 to 1.5 cm in diameter. Grossly it is a yellowish white lesion. Usually patchy involvement. Only partial circumference of wall and of variable length is involved. Microscopically, uh, it have three components: cells, extracellular matrix, intracellular and extracellular lipids. In the cells, the most common it is the smooth muscle cells, macrophages and other leukocytes. Second, that is in extracellular matrix, you will find a collagen, elastic fibers, proteoglycans. And third, that is the intracellular and extracellular lipids. This figure showing superficial fibrous cap, which is composed of, this is the fibrous cap which is composed of smooth muscle cells, dense extracellular matrix, means fibrocollagenous tissue deposition, and few cells. Here in the center you will find a cholesterol and necrotic cellular debris. So in the center you will find a necrotic core, which is composed of disorganized mass of lipids, cholesterol cleft, dead cell debris, form cells, fibrin and organized thrombus. Beneath and the side of the lesion you will find cells like macrophages, smooth muscle cells and T lymphocytes. Form cells are nothing but they are large lipid laden cells which is derived from monocytes and smooth muscle cells. So this is a blood vessel, this is the antima. Antima is lift up. Here it is a fibrous cap. This is a necrotic core. Here you will find a media. Now fibrous cleft, here in which smooth muscle cells and fibrous tissue are there. In atheroma there is more lipid is there. Now coming to pathological changes in plaques are calcification, focal rupture, ulceration or erosion which induce thrombus formation or microemboli, hemorrhage and hematoma formation, superimposed thrombus which is important complication in disrupted lesions which may partially or completely occludate the lumen. It may heal and become incorporated into and thereby enlarge the intimal plaque. And aneurysmal dilatation which leads to weakness of the wall and rupture. Here in the intima, the plaque formation with fibrous cap. This cap is ruptured and blood clot form is there around the rupture, so it leads to blocking of artery. Here you will find a cut section of artery. This is antima, lumen. Here you will find a atheromatous plaque formation. Here there is a tear in the arterial wall. Complicated gross feature of vessel wall. You will find a complicated lesion. Here tear will be there. Again same but in different figure. By increasing age from normal blood vessel, which is a clinically silent lesion, and you will find a fatty streak in early age. In progression of age you will find atheromatous plaque formation, and this is increasing in size and leads to rupture, fissure and thrombus formation, which leads to MI, stroke and critical leg ischemia, cardiovascular death. Now coming to clinical manifestation and complication. Depending on the affected site, it leads to stroke formation, then atherosclerotic carotid artery, aneurysm, angina, myocardial infarction, hypertension, peripheral vascular disease. Now coming to summary. Atherosclerosis is a chronic inflammatory response of the vascular wall to a variety of events that are initiated early in life. Multiple mechanisms contribute to plaque formation and progression, including endothelial dysfunction, monocyte adhesion and infiltration, lipid accumulation and oxidation, smooth muscle proliferation, extracellular matrix deposition and thrombosis. The lesions begins with fatty streak and gelatinous lesion. Full-blown lesions or fibrofatty plaques have an superficial cap and cellular or soft center. Complicated atheromas may have dystrophic calcification, ulceration, thrombosis, hemorrhage and aneurysm formation. Major clinical effects are on the heart in the form of coronary artery disease, in the brain stroke is there, aorta there is aneurysmal dilatation, in intestine there is ischemia and gangrene in lower extremities.